Hey everybody, great to be back here in a fish tank. It's time for Minion Masters update news. It's version 2.18. We're going to go through the balance changes. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Minion Masters. And a reminder, Minion Masters is not having any new content, but we are having these monthly balance changes to keep the meta as interesting as possible. And crucially, these balance changes are community driven, so that means you can have your say. Head over to the Minion Masters Discord and join the discussion. Make your own suggestions or get involved in other people's suggestions. Stuff you think's too strong or too weak, that can be changed. Right, without any further ado, let's dive into the balance changes for version 2.18. This is going to be a scrap themed season pass, I think. So as always, there is going to be a new season pass, which for newer players is going to be great. For experienced players who have most of the content, not so good. Right. Now, one thing the devs did do at the end of last season is they gave us an updated spreadsheet with all the win rate data. Now, what I've done with that is I have put that on my website, battersfish80.com. So I'm going to try to keep that up to date with all things that we go through here on the channel. So if you want to head over there, you should find whatever you're looking for. But basically, yeah, at the end of last season, the devs gave us updated data for the cards and the masters and stuff. So we can see their win rate and their play rate. So what I've done is included that here to just give us an idea of why these buffs are taking place. Right, Chief Icebreaker, Bolf. His first attack now inflicts slow. So the slow, I assume, will be permanent. So everything he attacks will get slowed, which can be very powerful. And if we have a look why this is happening, we can see here in solos, 39% win rate, low play rate. In duos, 46% win rate, and again, pretty low play rate. So underperforming, perhaps now we'll see more of him. Right, Cloud Cover. This is a master perk, alternate master perk for Stormbringer. This is where you lift a unit up, give it a shield, and give it some marksmanship, I think. So the delay before activating has been reduced to 0, so you can sort of do some snap things with it to try to save your units. The real issue with this is it's kind of cool, but it's an alternate perk for Stormbringer's classic give everything marksmanship, which means it's very difficult to kind of make the argument that you should be using this as opposed to the normal perk. So win rate is about 50% in both modes, so not too bad, but a very, very low play rate. And these play rate figures for this particular Cloud Cover, because it's a master perk, they don't really compare well to the other play rate figures for the unit. So whilst this 3% looks much bigger than the 0.1%, it's not the same data. There's not 295 masters. Right, Combustion. Delay before exploding reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds. Remember, Combustion, you apply it to your unit, then it pops and does damage around it. Also does damage to itself. So it's gonna react quicker. So one of the risks with Combustion is you put it on a unit and then it dies too quickly and you get nothing. So this is going to reduce that from happening. Also, master damage increased from 10 to 100. And again, if we look at the win rates, 44% win rate in solos, 52% win rate in duos. A little bit underperforming, especially in solos, and very, very low play rate. Right, Healing Fireball. Healing increased from 350 to 400. So remember, the way that the heal works from the Fireball is it's not an AoE heal. The healing is split between all the units. So back in the day, it used to do X amount, and it would heal everything for X amount. That was changed where it does this maximum amount and it's spread out amongst all of the things it can heal. So again, win rate in solos, 44%, win rate in duos, 46%. So not being played too much, but also not getting much success either. Right, next up we have the Protocol Assassin. This did get reworked to arc slash more quickly, but for less damage in the last patch. And this patch, because that didn't really work very well, it has seen an increase from 80 to 100 damage. And again, the stats show 48% win rate in solos, 45% win rate in duos, and not a great play rate. Right, Resonating Blast Crystal. And there's a little bit confusing this change because we'll see a different change in a minute for the crystals itself. But this is the damage from the spell immediately when you use it. Because remember, it also drops the crystal, and the crystal can explode when it finds a matching one. So the master damage slightly increased from 40 to 50. Again, win rate 49% in solos, 50% in 2v2. Pretty low play rate. Right, Siegebreaker Mark 1. This was supposed to get this change in the last patch, but the devs messed it up and gave this change to Ruby instead, which kind of screwed Ruby up for a season. So range increased from 6 to 8. And again, win rate in solos 48%, win rate in duos 47%. Shield Captain Avea now has Taunt. So remember, the whole point with Avea is that when she takes damage, assuming she's not on cooldown, she generates a shield and shields everything around her. And when she does that, she triggers a Legion, which is a unit that spawns at your tower. A Legionnaire that spawns at your tower. It's 0 cost. It's kind of shuffled into your deck, and then when you get to it, it just auto-spawns at your tower. Right, so Shield Captain Avea in solos, 49% win rate, and 2v2s, 51% win rate. Spirit Mancer. Damage increased from 4 to 6. So that's quite a sizable damage increase. Remember, that's like, it attacks very quickly. It's sort of a channeled sort of thing. So big increase there to the Spirit Mancer. And as we can see here, 47% win rate in solos, 49% win rate in duos. So still underperforming, but definitely doesn't feel like it sometimes. Now here's a weird one for the Warrior. Now Warrior gets an attack speed buff, so that means it attacks more quickly, so DPS goes up, down from 2.1 seconds to 1.9 seconds. But the stats show she had a 60% win rate in solos and a 54% win rate in duos. So it seems like based on those stats, the Warrior didn't really need it, but perhaps the stats were not showing. This is kind of like the benefit of hindsight, because these stats were not available, of course, when these were put together. We only had stats from the first week or so of the season. Right. Zealots of the Burning Fist. This could be a rebalance, but it is designed to be a buff. So no longer restores 140 health when there's only one Zealot remaining. Instead, sets Holy Fire to the ground when there's only one Zealot remaining. So remember, Holy Fire drops to the ground, heals and damages depending on friend or foe. And the reason that's been changed is 46% win rate in solos, 49% win rate in duos, and a pretty low play rate. Right, rebalances, things that are changed in more than one way. Clear Skies. Cost is reduced from 3 to 2. And of course, the astute among you know that means that it's going to be available as a King Puff Perk 2 spell. So only going to cost 2 more instead of 3, but the minion healing has been reduced from 250 to a 125. So it's kind of just tried to make it a cheap spell to do a bit of healing, but not too much. Win rate in solos, 51%. Win rate in duos, 49%. Crossbow Guild. Right, duration reduced from 45 seconds to 20 seconds. And the production delay reduced from 3.7 seconds to 1.9 seconds. So it only lasts for 20 seconds, but when it's open, it's pumping those crossbow dudes out. In solos, 42% win rate, and duos, 47% win rate. So stats suggest that it did need something there. Right, Frostfang Familiar. This card's received quite a few changes recently, trying to find where it fits in niche-wise. So the cost has been increased from 2 to 3. But it now also grants spirits. So remember, the Frostfang Familiar is kind of like the Haunting Hugger, but the friendly version, the good version. It will hug the closest friendly unit, and now it will give that unit spirit. And of course, as it did previously, it also gives it Vampiric, where the unit heals itself when it gets a kill. And as you can see here in solos, win rate at 39%, so very poorly performing in solos. Duos, 47%. Right, Wrecked Walker. So I think previously it had 150 health. Now it's going to start at 100 of 150 health. So it starts damage, which kind of makes sense for the way the card is kind of presented. And the Outlander tech effect now gives you 2 nats instead of 1. So less health, but more nats. And this card had a very, very abysmal play rate. I think from my meta analysis, nobody guessed it yet, but top tier, the Wrecked Walker was the least played card. Right, and not only was it very rarely played, it did also have a bad win rate, 39% in solos and 45% in duos. Right, nerfs. Okay, so this is the other half of the rebalance that we saw. The Resonating Blast Crystal spell itself, master damage went up a little bit, but now the master damage on the crystals, remember when you have two crystals, they match and explode. Their master damage has been reduced from 60 to 40. Again, a 49% win rate in solos and a 50% win rate in duos. Siege Imperator Ruby. As alluded to earlier, this got the range increase last season that was supposed to be given to the Siege Breaker. And Ruby's kind of not a simple card, so her range is separate to the range of her cannons. So that meant because her range was increased, she would get to the tower and stop, but her cannons with a shorter range couldn't hit the tower. So this is kind of just reverting what happened last season, kind of like a bug fix reversion. Win rate in solos 48%, win rate in duos 50%, very low play rate, especially in solos. Right, and then just to close out here, wildcards being reduced. So adventuring parties had wildcards. So wildcards reduced to 1. Technically, I think that should say copies allowed reduced to 1. So wildcards should be 0. So no wildcarding of Adventurer Party, Feng the Wanderer, Future Past, Future Present, Gax, nice, Simulacrum, and the Walking Blind 8. And a bug fix, Azog's ability range indicator no longer locks the cursor to the edge of the range. So if you're playing Azog, you should be able to do it. I think that was only a visual thing. It was kind of annoying, but you could still get Azog where you wanted it to. It just looked like you couldn't. Right. And there we have it. Those are the balance changes for version 2.18. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment if you do get involved in the algorithm, getting involved in the video. That really does help. And as always, let me know what you think of the changes. I'm Bad as a Fish, and I'll see you again soon here in the fish tank.